everybody. Thought we'd come on here and give some updates. It's been quite a bit that's happened in the past few days. I came down here on Monday to be with Eric and the girls, and Kaden stayed back at our house with my mom. When I got here, Ellie was getting ready to go down to down and across the way to the outpatient to remove her cast on her arm. That's what we were told, and so I thought I would go with her since I just got here. And I think there was a little bit of miscommunication, so that kind of overwhelmed me a little bit, that she was going to get her leg cast off as well as her arm cast off, and I think they kind of just assumed I was an outpatient, just bringing in my daughter to get some casts removed. So moving her and just kind of all the issues that or stuff that comes with Ellie. She's been a two-person move from her chair to the table, and just all of the things were like just not communicated with, and that they were like, oh well, a nurse needs to be here, and the nurse that brought me down or went down with us was not a nurse that actually works on rehab. She was filling in. So it was just a lot that kind of built up the stress. And so then we worked it out that they could remove, they're going to do her leg cast first, and they could do it in her wheelchair. And if you've seen or had a cast removed, it's really loud, so it's kind of scary for a child anyways. So the noise really set Ellie off, and she got very agitated and started crying and screaming really hard. I hadn't seen her do that since we've been here, and it was really hard to watch. I tried to just comfort her as best I could, and as they're cutting off the cast and soothing her and singing to her and anything I could, and as they removed the cast, they saw something on kind of on the lower part of her leg, and it looked a little scary to me, but I wasn't sure, and they started calling in the doctors. And anyways, what it ended up being is it was actually a piece of her bone protruding through her skin. And so I guess, to my best understanding, and Eric kind of does a better job than me, but it just basically went like the bone splintered, and in the x-ray they thought it kind of was pointing more down when they were casting it, but then instead it kind of went out and poked through her skin. And so if you even touched her leg in any way, she screamed, and she was in a lot of pain, and that was really hard to watch. And they were kind of like at a loss at that moment. Just the people were right there removing the cast. They weren't quite sure what to do, so they're calling in the doctors. At that point, I told Eric to come down, and I needed him to be with me. And then they took her in to get an x-ray of that leg, and that was just really, really difficult for her and difficult for me. And I actually had to leave, so I couldn't handle that part. But Eric was great and stayed with her, and they were able to get the x-ray, and then we were able to get the arm cast off after that. One of her nurses, her amazing nurse, she kind of didn't know exactly what was going on because the miscommunication ran over, and she brought over some morphine, and that was really nice, and they let that kick in before they did her removal of her arm cast, because they also had to pull out those 3 pins that were in her elbow, and that was not fun. And they had Eric and I sit down and not look, because that wasn't fun, and they wrapped that up. So with that, she definitely wasn't comfortable. They splinted her leg to kind of keep it in place, and that night was hard. She didn't want us to touch her leg. She didn't want anyone to move it, so we kind of just let her do her thing, but she seemed okay. They gave her some pain meds, and she had that morphine, and we thought it was okay. And then the next day yesterday she went in for surgery she went under, and they essentially just cut that piece of bone off, and it was about an inch. They showed us, the surgeon showed us a picture of what that was, and they cut that off and shaved that back. And then what they were concerned about is infection, so we were a little nervous about maybe infection of the bone or spreading infection, but it looks like that is not. It's just agitated in that area, so we're really thankful. The blood results and cultures look good, so she did go on antibiotics, but now she's off, and the surgery went well. I guess from now, for future concern, her leg has shortened by 2 centimeters, so just shy of an inch, and that could present further problems, but we're just going to take them as they come. Right now, we were thankful that her surgery went well, and she took a little while to come out of anesthesia, but I think she was really tired in general. And so we stayed with her for a little bit in the outpatient, and then I went up to be with Addie, and She came up later and she seemed okay. She seemed a little happier, like we were hoping that maybe she was out of some pain by having that removed. And then last night it just got really bad, and poor baby, she did not sleep at all night, and she cried and screamed the entire night, and it was very painful to watch. We could not, there was nothing we could do for her. So it's really hard as parents to feel helpless when your child's in a lot of pain. And she even got some morphine and it didn't seem to affect her at all. And we weren't sure, since she can't communicate with us, if it was her leg, if it was her arm, if it was a combination. Because the other thing too is we thought maybe it was her stomach. She has also been, I can't remember if Eric had mentioned this in his updates, but throwing up sporadically, not all the time. It's usually at night. During a feed, it's either she can't tolerate what she's eating, or it's her feed is too fast, or it's too much. We're not sure. They're trying to play with volume and the amount of time that the food goes in, and playing with medications and all of that, and we're not really sure if it's what she's eating. We've been trying to have her food changed to a better, less processed. Right now she's just on Pediasure, and there's a lot of corn and sugar and stuff that we really don't want her to be on. So we're not sure if it's that. And then yesterday, so she did throw up at night, and that could have been because of the anesthesia and just all the meds, and her body's just been through so much. And she's also, and then she did it again at 5 a.m. This morning, and then she throws up her Tylenol. So then we're like, did she get the Tylenol in? So that's hard. And then also she's not going to the bathroom, so she hasn't had a bowel movement in a couple days, and we know that that's probably painful for her, and she's been getting suppositories and Miralax, and we're trying everything. So I guess for prayer requests for Ellie, would just be for pain control, that we could figure something out. It looks like at 5 a.m. She, after like right around when she threw up, she did get oxycodone, and that is the first thing she was able to relax. That seems to work. So they're kind of have her on that now around the clock with Tylenol, and the morphine didn't seem to do much, but she still has her IV in just in case for emergencies, or we need to do things like that. She'll keep that in until Friday, and she's going to keep her armband wrapped for a couple days before we can wash her, and her arm's very sensitive, and her leg is in a temporary splint till the end of the week, and then they're going to do some sort of like walking boot or kind of create something for her leg. And so I guess really just pray that she can go to the bathroom and we can resolve her stomach issues, that the new food that we want to put her on, that she will tolerate, and it will be a much better fit for her. And then the pain from her surgery, the pain from her leg, that it'll just heal completely, and that she can kind of move on. We just feel a little, I think Eric does too, but I don't want to speak for him, but I feel really discouraged right now, just that like she was making these strides forward, and then she has this surgery and all this pain, and it feels like, we've taken a few steps backwards, and it's really hard, and it's really hard to watch her in so much pain. So and I just, we're out here right now trying to take a little break while she did fall asleep, so that was nice. And Addie's in her therapy, so just for strength for us and just healing for her. We just appreciate all your prayers so much. And on a happier note, for Addie, she's doing great. She continues to, and we are actually going to bring her home tomorrow, so we're really happy about that. They said she was ready to go home last week. She's doing so great, and basically she's just here playing at the hospital with, her teachers, as she calls all her nurses and therapists, and everybody just loves her. And so we're kind of spending the day taking pictures with people, and we're going to go watch some of her therapy. And she's just walking everywhere now and washing her own hands and going potty, and she's doing really well. I do have mixed feelings about her coming home. Of course, I'm overjoyed that she's doing so well and she can come home. It's just, I don't know what that looks like for our family. I'm gonna go, Eric and I are both gonna bring her home tomorrow, and Jane, Eric's mom, will come and stay with Ellie tomorrow, and we'll get Addie situated and at home and be with Kaden. And I know she's really excited to see Kaden. I just, it's sad to bring one daughter home and leave one here, and I just worry a little bit about, Ellie. Like, I know Addie's a comfort to her, just to hear her voice and her laughter, and she's familiar, and it's her sister, and they get a room together. And so now, you know, Ellie could be getting another roommate potentially, or multiple roommates throughout her stay. And you know, it's just going to be different, another change. And it's always hard, the unknown, but she does have great nurses, and you know, we're just trying to trust God that He'll figure this out. And we know there's no easy answer or solution, but we're just trusting, and just ask that you keep praying. And we just want to thank you guys for